Welcome to CFL Betting Blueprint, Wager Talk CFL show for this summer. Myself, Andrew McInnis, and Bobby Dubeau. You can find me on X at McInnis Picks, Bobby at Mr. Surrey Jack, and we're excited to be here with you every single week, earlier in the week as well, to give you guys tips on the best numbers possible, betting the CFL, sides, totals, maybe even some props. And on today's show, we're going to look at some futures, divisions, most outstanding players, some player individual stats, over-unders, all that good stuff. But I want to introduce Bobby. Guys, I did a podcast with Bobby last year. We've been talking CFL for many years together. Bobby, correct me if I'm wrong, but you pretty much only bet CFL, right? So this is your thing.
Unless it's something stupid in like the politics and entertainment arena, yeah, it's mostly CFL. I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm not good at, I guess.
I love it. And that's what we preach here at Wager Talk, of course, is, sticking to your lane, staying with what you know best. And obviously, you had a lot of winners, including a big future last year. We'll get into that a little bit later on in the podcast. But you and I really wanted to do this early on in the week because, to me, it's really important in the CFL. The lines aren't moving as much as we've seen in years past, but it's important for people to get the best of the numbers, to jump on some of these openers. And I think it's really important for us to do a show, number one, to kind of talk about what we learned in the previous week, but also to get people set for the next week once we see some of these numbers that are out. So what are kind of your plans for the podcast and kind of your expectations for us here each week?
Yeah, like there's plenty of good shows out there that cover the league, cover its teams, but there's only a couple that actually help you take advantage of what's going on with the books. So you're not going to come on here and see lame takes from us. No, I still call it Twitter, fluff, things like that. We're going to break it down from CFL gambling perspective. To steal an infamous quote, we will be sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented. Last year, I personally had 84% CLV on my picks. I give them out on X the minute I place them, and I only bet what the average person can get like a full unit down on. So I bet everything I post, and I only post bets that you can actually make yourself. So we had a pretty good year last year. There's a future that cashed at the end that went pretty well, but looking forward to it. I think CFL is still one of the last great frontiers in the gambling space where you can still beat it based on what the books are posting, especially early on in the week.
Absolutely. And our COO, Johnny Detroit, he was just talking about yesterday, I think in a live comment section on a Wager Talk show, about how multiple bookmakers that he knows and sports books across Vegas, they just copycat. I mean, they're not even making their own lines, right? Like there is still a soft sport, a soft market that's certainly beatable. And we're going to hopefully guide people through it every single week. And I look forward to it. I'm going to have plays up at Wager Talk for sale, my best bets as well. But we're going to dive through every single game every week and let you guys know our thoughts, whether it'll be just kind of what we're looking for from certain teams, whether it be first half, full game, spreads, if we have a lean, or if we've actually gotten to the market. And Bobby and I will be very clear if we've bet this game already, if we maybe are staying off, or if we want to wait to see where the number goes. We'll be very clear with that as the week moves on. But let's not waste any time. Let's take a look at some of these divisions and kind of look at some of the players and changes that we've seen. You and I are going to have some fun throughout the summer. We'll make fun of some teams. We'll hype up some teams, some players. But one thing about the CFL, there's a lot of changes in the offseason. So I always say one tip for people, we'll talk about this later, but one tip I think that people should look at early in the year is teams that look relatively the same and don't have too many changes. But starting in the East, what are your expectations just overall from this division?
Well, I think the biggest news out of the East is that we don't know who's starting in Toronto to start the season. So you've got Nick Arbuckle. Sure, he won the most outstanding player of the Grey Cup last year, but he was their third string quarterback for most of the season. So you've got quarterback questions there, whether Chad Kelly's even going to come back until halfway through the year. You don't know what he's got. Apparently, he's just got an ingrown toenail. That's what's on the injury report, but he did break his leg 6 months ago. Montreal, a bit of change at quarterback. Davis Alexander, although he started 8 or 10 games for the Alouettes last season, played well. They were clearly the best team in the East for the majority of the year. So you got Hamilton, which their defense was the big problem last year, so it can't be as bad as it was. So they can only go up. And then you've got the Red Blacks that I don't know. You got to handle with care if you're doing anything with them, especially if you're betting on them, because you're placing a lot of faith in a team that's proven they'll always make the worst decision possible in the most important moments.
That's for sure. And you and I are going to talk about a lot of coaches throughout the season as well, with different coaches that maybe we trust in certain situations, or coaches that we literally don't trust for any smart decision to be made. We always talk about, obviously, it's a 3-down league. So when is it a good chance to go for it? When is it a good chance to punt the ball away and not go for it? For certain situations, we want to be able to rely on a few coaches. So we're going to give you guys some win totals and some picks. And I'll tell you what, the win total that I have is an under. And a lot of the reason that I'm going under with that team is because of their coach. But looking at this division overall, I do think it's going to be a bit more competitive this year. I think the East has gradually kind of gotten a bit better, but for many years it was West dominated this league. I mean, look at Winnipeg. I mean, how many years in a row they've gone to the Grey Cup despite actually not winning it that many times. They've been there several times in a row here. When I look at a team like Hamilton, it's really interesting for me. And of course, they get Lawler in the offseason, who's an unbelievable receiver, and he was with the same team in Winnipeg for many years. But to me, like a team like Hamilton, they haven't really struggled offensively. When you look at it, even if it wasn't Bo Levi Mitchell behind center, whoever it was, they were able to create plays. It was just their defense. Like, I had this chart that I looked at that was just points for and against for each team. And the irony is, I was like, wow, that's not bad. Like, look how high that bar graph is for their points for. But then the points against was right next to them, even higher. So Hamilton's a team that we can't really trust defensively. They're going to be able to put up points, but can you really worry about them defensively? When I look at the Ottawa Red Blacks, I mean, picking up Eugene Lewis in the offseason should be a good addition for them. You kind of respect a guy like that that's been making some moves over the past couple of years, and he should bring some pop to the offense a little bit and some veteran presence. But at the end of the day, when I look at this team, they were a 9-win team last year. But I think the East is going to be more competitive. It's going to be more well-rounded. We also look at some of the teams in the West that kind of have some better scheduling spots against a team like Ottawa this year. So I think that for them, maybe they take a step back a little bit. Toronto, we know what they're capable of, but as you mentioned, there's been injuries, there's been lineup discussions. The running the ball is really the big thing for them. If that team can establish the run, then they're looking pretty solid. And then, of course, the Montreal Alouettes. Like, they're a team that is going to be a big question mark this year with Davis Alexander now labeled as that starting quarterback. They're healthy at the receiver position. They did lose a couple guys at defense, but for the most part, I trust them. I think they should be right up there. But at the end of the day, Bobby, we kind of ask ourselves, what's the deal here with the new starting QB? Because even though he's been there, done that, started several games last year when Cody Fajardo was out, how much different is it when you are the guy now? You're not just the QB2 coming in for a couple of games. He is the guy, like what are your expectations for the Alouettes?
There's a bit of panic over his last preseason game, but like he's been there for a few years, and those who follow the Alouettes will tell you firsthand, like they weren't surprised at how successful he was last year. How do you grade that success against other quarterbacks in the league? Like, is he top 5 quarterback in the league? Probably not, but he is a proven starter, and he's young. He's got a lot of good years ahead of him. So this isn't throwing a pure rookie in there. He had a good run last season. There hasn't been too much turnover for the Alouettes in the offseason either. So I'm cautiously optimistic about Alexander. There's not much, like all these totals in the East. I think they're all either 9 or 10. So there's nothing that I could really find in that division on its own.
And in the West, a team that we love making fun of, the Edmonton Elks, that have just absolutely been abysmal, not just in general, but especially at home, which is funny. A team that somehow in football has looked better on the road. What just your thoughts overall on this West Division? Some teams you expect to maybe surprise us or disappoint us, good and bad, in this division?
Okay, so I've got a team that's not going to surprise us, but based on the win total that's out there, is the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I think it's at 10 and a half right now, plus money. Now, with win totals in the CFL, like it's pretty volatile every year. The majority of the quarterbacks in the league go down, and in previous seasons, the drop off to the backup has been pretty wild. I think this year, a lot of teams have a solid backup. One team in particular, Edmonton, has a backup that's way better than the starter. But the Bombers here graded at 10 and a half. Usually this has been at 12 or 13 wins the last few years. So they've been clearing away like the best team in the league. And the last game they played, they were 9.5 point favorites against the team that won the Grey Cup. Luckily, we told everybody to stay off them and bet against them, and it went well. But how much do you downgrade this team since that last game? Maybe a minor downgrade with receiving core, minor downgrade on defense, but not much. Like, they finished really strong the last half of the season. There was a reason they were almost double-digit favorites in the Grey Cup. The week before, they covered the spread in the Western Final by 11. We told you to get on that. By the end of the year, though, like that, the lines had caught up with them. They kind of flaked out against the Alouettes in a mean nothing game. We told you to just take the Alouettes. You're noticing a trend here. But prior to that, they went 7-1. They went on a 7-1 heater against the spread. We were fading the public that was all worried about this team. Is the dynasty, Western dynasty, finally over? But it wasn't. Like, if Zach Collaros didn't get injured halfway through that Grey Cup, I'm not sure the Argos, they would have covered the spread, but I'm not sure they would have won the game. So you've got a Winnipeg team at an average number here, 10 and a half. You've got Edmonton that won't be better at the start of the year if they're starting Trey Ford. You've got Calgary that should be better because they have Vernon Adams Jr., but last time he played Winnipeg, he had put up 0 points in an entire game. So BC, I think they're going to be pretty similar to what they were last year. Saskatchewan is good, but they're as good as they were 6 months ago when they got thumped in the Western Final against Winnipeg. So I still think Winnipeg is by far the best team in the league. Maybe not by far, but they're still the best team in the league in my power ratings. I have to take over 10 and a half. Even better at plus money. Plus money doesn't scare me in the CFL. I haven't been burned by it in the past. Once I start getting beat, then maybe I'll be a little hesitant. But line movement in this league, I'm not too concerned about, especially because we're one of the early movers in terms of the books. So yeah, that's kind of how I view this Western Division. The spread from top to bottom isn't as bad as it used to be, but Winnipeg getting 10 and a half, I think, is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's almost like people are just expecting them to be, an old version of themselves that's just falling off. But Bobby, I feel like we've heard that for 3 straight years. This team's getting old. This team, Zach Collaros is falling off. They don't have the offensive weapons. They don't have the guys on defense. As long as this team has Zach Collaros and Willie Jefferson, I'm fine with them at this win total number. So I agree with you on that one. I'm confident with Winnipeg. The only thing is with the CFL, obviously it's a 9-team league, right? It's about, these win totals are about the competitive nature of the teams around them. And I do think that the league overall this year is going to be one of the more competitive leagues that we've seen in the past several years. And it seems like you agree with me on that. And when we look at Edmonton, though, I mean, they're kind of been the joke for many years. They got a new team president, a new head coach, a new OC, a new DC, new everything. And then Trey Ford is going to be the starter, and they've given him multiple chances to be the starter for a few weeks, and he gets benched again. The offensive line has been very bad for them. Their defense has struggled even in games they've put up points. So I kind of have concerns about them. For Saskatchewan, I like them because they've been a team that has actually added in the right way. They drafted and both traded for guys on the offensive line and also to protect the run defense a lot better. Their run defense was not very good last year. They're going to help make that a lot better. And if you look at it, Trevor Harris was running for his life. I mean, this is a guy that just had zero protection. If there's one thing that they needed, that's something that they needed. So for me, I'll come out and say that that's one of the picks that I like as far as the futures market is concerned, is Saskatchewan at plus 700. I think Saskatchewan has the weapons. They have the great ground game. And last year, they were a pretty good defensive team. You know, there were some weeks where their passing defense wasn't there, but their rushing defense was there. And then some weeks it was vice versa. But it seems like they've really addressed the needs. Calgary, look, last year they faded. They showed us a lot of times what you see teams showing you at the end of one season, it kind of goes right into the next year. So Calgary, curious to see what they can do, but obviously a new quarterback is going to help them quite a bit. BC, they just are surrounded with talent. Obviously, Nate Rourke now gets another year under his belt after coming in a little bit in the middle of the season there. That should be different. I'm really interested to see what happens with this one. But as far as the West, one pick that I have is plus 700 on Saskatchewan to win the Grey Cup. I feel like when you look at a Grey Cup ticket, you're going to hold your money up for 21 weeks for this long. You want a pretty good bet. And I think Saskatchewan right now, we saw how well they did last year, making it as far as they did. Their defense just let them down. And again, I feel like they made the right additions at the draft and in the offseason to help their team out the best that they could. It's just all about staying healthy with that team, as it feels like every year across multiple positions, they seem to get injured. I'll get to my win total bet in a minute here, but you have a big price for a future for us. What is it you have for us here?
Well, I was listening to you in November, and we were both on this in November. We've had our money parked already for for 6 months at this, and this number's still out there on a few sites. Bet365 is one of them. Calgary Stampeders 30-1 to win the Grey Cup, and this is purely a numbers play. Like, it's rare you'll see anything higher than like 16 or 18. Some books have already adjusted them down to that range. So even for like the historically bad teams, the Taylor Cornelius Elks, the Caleb Evans Red Blacks, they were still 18-20-1. So I don't want people thinking like I'm taking the Stamps to win the Grey Cup. I am, but I've taken them at 30-1. Like you said, the spread from best to worst in this league is as tight as I can remember it. I don't think you'll be seeing double-digit favorites this year until maybe injuries start hitting. Stamps lost a lot of close games last year, and a few of them, ones I watched with live in the stadium, were just based on bad decisions by the quarterback. Now they have one of the best quarterbacks in the league with Vernon Adams Jr. So it's the ultimate long shot with a shot here. This isn't the type of league where you want to be parking your money, like you said, at a 2-1, 3-1. Like 365 is what the Argos favored right now. It's ridiculous. So that shows you how stale these numbers are, but they're still taking bets. So a lot can go wrong for these huge favorites. Look at last year. Winnipeg looked great right into the last 25 minutes of the season. So 30-1, I don't mind at all. You can still find this at other books at 25. Maybe 22 might be the cutoff there. Anything less than 20, then you're just taking the worst team in the league at the appropriate odds. So, Stamps 30-1. This will be a ticket in the account for almost a year when we finally get a ruling on it. Hopefully, we have to wait a year for the ruling, which would mean good news for us.
I love it. And you know what? Like, it's a 9-team league here, guys. I don't think any team in this league has ever deserved to have that 30-1 price tag on it. I mean, at least from when I've been watching, I mean, that is a big price tag. If you watch them make the playoffs, you pretty much have a hedge for the rest of the whole playoffs, Bobby, with that there. Again, guys, recap for me. So takes the Saskatchewan Roughriders plus 700 to win the Grey Cup. Not nearly as good as Bobby's 30-1 ticket there. Saskatchewan plus 700. And then for me, my win total bet, I'm going to take a look at the Ottawa Redblacks under 10.5 wins. Look, they got 9 wins last season, but as I mentioned, I feel like the competition around them got better. You know, everybody around them, I think, is going to get better. If Hamilton stays healthy, their offense was great. They added more to their offense. You know, if they can protect their quarterback, they can put up numbers. They can win some games. We know what Montreal can do. We know what Toronto can do. And I feel like the West is stacked as well. I don't trust Bob Dice and his coaching staff and their decisions. We saw some really questionable decisions in some really key games. And also the offensive line there with them is just horrible. I mean, there's a reason why their quarterbacks can't stay healthy, and it's because they're running for their lives on every play. And 3 of their first 4 games are really difficult here. The Red Black schedule, you've got the Rough Riders, the Alouettes, Stampeders, not so bad, and then the Argonauts. So I think it's going to be a tough start to the season for the Red Blacks, and I'm not really buying into this 10.5 number we're seeing. So I'll go under on the Ottawa Red Blacks. And I want to clarify just real quick what I was saying about Saskatchewan. They had an unbelievable running defense last year, but it was a poor passing defense that they had. You don't want anyone coming after me here, Bobby. I got to clarify that stuff there. We don't want anyone coming after. All right. So season long stats here, season long bets. Obviously, no one's really trying to tie up money for that long unless we feel like we really have an edge. There's one player you're betting the under on. Who is it?
We mentioned him already, Trey Ford. It's a low number, 3,400 yards. I think is kind of the consensus total for his passing yards here. You gave a bit of history. Let's give a little more history on him. This is Trey Ford's first chance to start for the Edmonton Elks. He's got all the hype behind him. He's got the league posting videos of him torching the worst defense in the league for 4 touchdowns in a mean-nothing game. Everything is basically pumping this guy up. He's a Canadian guy. Everybody wants to see him succeed. But let's look at what he's done. His last start, he beat Nick Arbuckle and Cam Dukes for the Argos by 1 point in a game that they weren't even dressing their starters. The week before, he squeaked out a win over Matt Schultz. The fact that Matt Schultz was starting a game shows you how important it was to the opponent. Half the CFL fans couldn't even tell you who that was against. So either way, he's the starter. 3-1 last year, some mean-nothing games. 4-6 in 2023. He started 10 games. He had a shot. What did the Elks do at the end of the year? They brought in McLeod Bethel Thompson to start the next season. Had a couple games the year before in the Taylor Cornelius era. He's gone 7-8. 7-8 career record in games he started. In those 15 games, he's averaged 212 yards a game. He's thrown over 300 yards twice. This is the CFL. Matt Dunnigan, I think, threw for 700 yards in one game. He's thrown for 300 twice in his career. Once 15 completions, once on 16 completions. These were not air yards that he got his 300 from. The average CFL quarterback throws 21 completions a game. He's done that. He's thrown more than 21 twice in his entire career. He threw 23 in week 19 last year, and he threw 22 in week 20 in 2022. There's only 20 weeks in the season. These were garbage games where he finally got his completions in. Trey Ford's strength is his legs. He's got plenty of highlights on CFL YouTube channel. That's how they're going to win games. You need to expect the Elks are going to continue that strategy if he's going to be the starter. So there's that. Doesn't really have the passing reputation, especially in a passing league like the CFL. So that should be enough for at least a lean on that under. It's a somewhat low number. Like I said, 3,400 yards. All the other quarterbacks are closer to 4,000. His backup is Cody Fajardo, who won the Grey Cup in 2023. He was the favorite to win the most outstanding player last year before he got injured. He's going to be watching these games on the sidelines, and I'm not sure how quiet he's going to be if things aren't going well after a few games. So this has to be Trey Ford's last shot in Edmonton. There's a lot of optimism in town. I don't know if he's going to have a very long leash. McLeod Bethel Thompson, he was yanked after 7 starts last year. None of those losses were his fault. So now you've got all this hype on Trey Ford. You've got Trey Ford who's hasn't proven he can win yet, and you've got the best backup in the league, arguably a top 5 quarterback in the league, backing him up. So a few of us online have been talking about, does this Trey Ford even start the Labor Day game, which is 11 games into the season? Basically, even if you give him 225 yards a game, he needs to start 16 games to go over. Lots of injuries in the league. I'm not betting on injuries here. I'm betting on performance and a backup that's not going to be very quiet. And the fans aren't going to be very quiet. They know who Cody Fajardo is. So you'll have some people mention Geno Lewis being gone as well, one of the best receivers in the league. The Elks have picked up some depth. Like they've got three pretty good replacements for him. So I wouldn't really consider that. But the last thing I'll compare to is Jake Mayer in Calgary last year. He is a pocket passer. He started 15 games. He still went under his season total of 3,900. So you need to be passing the ball consistently to get these totals to go over. You need to keep your job to get these totals to go over. I just think even 3,400. I'm just taking whatever number they're giving me. This is a true GRP play here. I'm betting. I'm betting the player, not the number. I don't think there's a number low enough out there that would make sense for me to not take the under. So that's why I'm on Trey Ford under 3,400. Super low number, but I think it's exceptional circumstances in Edmonton this season.
I don't think anybody's breaking down season-long player total over-unders like that. So hats off to you there, Bobby, on that one. I like the breakdown. And look, again, it's one of those things where there's a reason why they pick up the backup quarterback they picked up. Even if Trey Ford has a little bit of a looser leash this year and gets to play a handful of games in a row, once those L's start to add up, they're going to be looking to the backup pretty quick. For me, look, I'm going to go for an over, actually. I'm going to take Bo Levi Mitchell, and you said we're not banking on injuries. Well, I'm certainly not banking on an injury because if this guy gets injured, I am screwed. We're taking around, what's the number here? 4,500 roughly over on his yards. And the thing is, he went nearly over 5,400 in the previous season, and that's with him getting injured. We still have Tim White. You add Kenny.
Hold on, he didn't get injured. He got benched.
Yeah, well, benched, then injured. I mean, yeah, maybe he was rubbing his shoulder on the sideline a little, acting like he was injured. But you're right. There was a benching that maybe turned into an injury. But either way, if he put up 5,400 yards or more than that last year, his number is 4,500 now. To me, the offense was not the problem. They also have a running back in Butler that can also catch the ball and make some plays on his feet. He ended the year last year with 2 plus 400-yard performances. He's a quarterback that I trust to make plays, especially if this team's going to be down in a lot of games against elite teams. That's where you can get those Dak Prescott late in game yards to up your stats, make you look better potentially than you maybe are. So if you're looking for a season-long bet there, or maybe this is a preview for someone that I'll be giving out during the season, during the weeks, on an over on passing yards in individual games. So Bo Levi Mitchell, season-long over 4,525 and a half yards. Look to see him sling the ball. So while Bobby's praying on a guy having a bad year, I'll be cheering on Bo Levi. And you're probably shaking your head saying cheering for Bo Levi. Maybe if this was 10 years ago. But those are some picks that we like here, guys. We're taking a look at Winnipeg over on their win total, taking a look at Ottawa under, taking a look at that great value, shop around, lock in the Calgary Stampeders with us to win the Grey Cup. No team should be 30-1 in the CFL to win the Grey Cup. Just some really, really good odds there. I like Saskatchewan at plus 700. We got Trey Ford under on his passing yards. And, of course, we're taking a look at Bo Levi from Hamilton over on his passing yards. Guys, I'll just mention, first and foremost, you can find Bobby on X at Mr. Surrey Jack, myself on X at McInnis Picks. My original price for my full season at Wager Talk was $349. We've slashed that. The early bird special is $299 to get all of my picks all season. It's a long season. We got 21 weeks here, guys. We got season-long bets we're giving out, futures, sides, totals, team totals, props. You can get my picks in the playoffs, and, of course, my Grey Cup best bet. So $299, an investment that'll be really good for the long term, get you guys through the summer, and we can cash tickets as far as that's concerned. So make sure you sign up, wt.buzz/AM, and get that $299 all season long. We can cash those tickets in the CFL. All right, Bobby, we're going to go over just really quick some other tips for people betting on the CFL, but we want to get in some MOP, and I'm curious who you think this year, because you cashed a big one last year. When I say the big one, I can't believe we're seeing a futures ticket this big getting cashed in the CFL. Tell us about your win last year, and let us know who you have for MOP this year.
So last year was Brady Oliveira won the MOP. I had that at 60-1. You can get that in mid-August. You can still get it in September at the end of week 17. So 4 weeks, 4 weeks left in the season. This guy was still 60-1. What did I do with it? I torched all the money, went to front row Survivor Series, but yeah, it was quite an impressive payout. The problem with that win was he only won 31-25. In the CFL, there's only 2 nominees for the MOP awards at the end of the year. 31-25 means that like if 3 people change their vote, you've got Bo Levi Mitchell winning MOP, who, by like I mentioned, lost his job mid-season and was on the worst team in the division. So when you look at the MOP award going forward, you have to know that no matter what, even though they renamed it to like outstanding player, not valuable player, this is to encourage non-quarterbacks to win. These old guys don't care. These guys that vote, they don't care. They half of them don't even watch the games. The other half might only watch there's only a handful that watch every game in the league all year. So a lot had to go wrong last year for Oliveira to win it. Lots of quarterbacks got injured. VA was a leader at one time. Fajardo was the leader later on in the season. They all got hurt. Oliveira kind of snuck his way back in to steal it at the end there. The last non-quarterback to win it was Brennan Banks in 2019. Same story. Every starting quarterback got injured that year. So you look at the odds this year. The guy who was favored to win most outstanding player last year, Cody Fajardo, he's a backup quarterback. He's not even an option. If he is, I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on him, although I don't think he's going to get the required games in to win the award. There's 2 guys that I like at the current odds right now, and they're both related to the BC Lions here. Nathan Rourke. He didn't win MOP a couple years ago because he didn't play the enough games in the season. He torched every team in the league. They were winning games by 20, 30 points. Came back last year to a bad situation, decided to come back to the CFL after trying it out in the NFL. This year he's got no excuses. So he needs to get back to the level where he was. And if he does, I think right now you're looking at 8-1. I think those are great odds. Especially at the beginning of the season. I think those are only going to get lower if BC even plays up to expectations. So I like Nathan Rourke there. The other one I like here is Vernon Adams Jr. And these two, Adams and Rourke, basically the best 2 quarterbacks in the league that we know are going to be playing. So like questions about Chad Kelly. I got these 3 as the top 3 in the league. So Vernon Adams, another favorite for the MOP last year before he got hurt. Lost his job to Rourke when he came back. Now he's with Calgary. He's got good weapons. And he's got Dominique Grimes with him back with him where he played 2 seasons. Despite what the CFL website says, Vernon Adams did play some games for the Lions in 2022. He's a great quarterback. If the Stamps make the playoffs, like you mentioned, it would be a successful season for them. I think you've got a great bet. VA would have to be one of the contenders there. And at 20-1, these are great odds. So it's almost a correlated long shot parlay here too. If VA is the MVP, then that 30-1 Stamps ticket is looking pretty good too. So I wouldn't say I'm a Stamps fan this year, but I'd be cheering for a successful season for them for sure. So VA and Nathan Rourke, both current and former BC Lions starting quarterbacks. My two picks for preseason MOP.
Rocking the BC Lions golf shirt, taking current and former BC Lion player. Look, I'll just throw it out there. I'm piggybacking on that one. I like Nate Rourke as well. What I heard people saying about him last year when he was struggling a little bit coming back to the league, it's like, guys, he hasn't really played like a real football like season or even a couple string of games in a long time. That's kind of what happens when you go and try and crack the NFL. You're playing for this preseason team. You're playing for that team. You're on this practice roster. It's just difficult. You're not really in the thick of things. He will be this year. He'll be ready to go. I like Nate Rourke as well. And my other one was Davis Alexander. And I don't know, this might make some people laugh, but at the end of the day, Montreal is a great team. We know where they stack up in the East. They're right there at the top of the rankings. They have the weapons offensively. They have a dangerous defense. I don't think he'll have to do a lot to lead this team to success. And one thing I saw from the coaching staff, in some quotes preseason was, we're looking to take some shots this year. He wants to use the athleticism. He wants to escape the pocket probably more than Fajardo did, but he's going to be real confident and slinging the ball and going deep. And if he does that, Bobby, he'll put up some numbers. And those old guys that are checking these numbers out that can't watch the games all the time, they're checking the numbers. So Davis Alexander at 12-1 could be a really good bet there. So Nate Rourke, we're on that one together. VA, really good long shot odds. And we're looking at Davis Alexander as well for some great futures. All right, we got to wrap this show up. But just any message you want to send out there, any closing thoughts before the next time people see us, which will be next Tuesday. We're talking week 1 of the CFL. Any closing thoughts?
No. There's some good numbers out there right now, and I'm looking forward to seeing how bad these openers are at the start of next week. I'll be ready to attack.
We look forward to it. We cannot wait, guys. You'll see us early in the week right here on Wager Talk TV. We're going to be posting all kinds of clips as well. My best advice, get these futures in while you can, and do not be late to the party with these CFL bets, as the lines will move next week, especially in week 1. Thank you for watching. Make sure you follow Bobby on X at Mr. Surrey Jack, myself, McInnis Picks, and get all of my CFL packages at wt.buzz/am. We'll see you next time. This has been the CFL Betting Blueprint.